Aloha, I'm Paul Norman, and I'm the Executive Director of Neighborhood Places Puna. Um, and, and over the last couple of weeks, I've been talking a lot about resilience, the importance of resilience, what it is, how to develop it, and so forth. And, one of the important components of developing resilience is starting to recognize that there are a lot of things that happen to us or happen to the people we encounter that are out of our control or out of their control, right? So, and as we learned through the ACEs study, the Adverse Childhood Experiences study, we know that for children who experience who have adverse experiences, who have traumatic experiences, who have a high level of toxic stress in their life, that those experiences can have long-term developmental behavior and health impacts for the child, especially if there isn't a stable and nurturing adult or nurturing adults in their life to help buffer those experiences, right? And those experiences generally are completely outside the child's control, right? So the big learning from this, from the ACEs study, is that when we work with children who are acting out or are displaying unhelpful behaviors, we try not to start from a judging place, but rather we try to start from a place of compassion by trying to discover what happened to them, by asking, in a sense, what happened to them, right? Not what's wrong with you, right? Because that question, what is wrong with you, implies that there is just something fundamentally broken or wrong about you as a being, as opposed to the other question, which is about what have you, that you as a human being are fundamentally okay, you are fundamentally good, you are intrinsically valuable, but something has happened to you. Let's figure out what that is and figure out a path forward, right? Much more compassionate. And of course, the same is true when we encounter adults who are struggling, who are maybe acting in ways that are difficult or unhealthy. We can start from that place of compassion and again, kind of ask or look for the causes, the conditions, the things that happened to them in the past that are impacting their life now. And so, why am I talking about this now, right? So it's November. Happy November, everybody. It's at the beginning of November, and this is the time where we celebrate or we remember those who have passed, those who have gone before, right? It's All Souls Day, Halloween, All Saints Day, all of those holidays that we celebrate, religiously or secularly, or exist right now. And for myself personally, I didn't grow up in a faith tradition where we really celebrated that or recognized that or drew attention to that. Remembering, yes, of course, you remember parents who passed away and so forth, but it wasn't kind of part of the liturgical year, if you will. But after I came to Hawaii, where there is this kind of vibrant tradition of remembering the dead, of remembering ancestors, I began to participate in these. And over time, what I discovered was that um, that the practice of remembering consciously and methodically remembering those who've passed, those who've gone before, those who've died, those who are important to us, is a joyful experience because it is a way to create connectedness, kind of create a sort of spiritual intimacy with people who were important to you and who are no longer physically in your life, but who you are still connected to and have had a tremendous influence on your life. And through that connection, I found joy and also a sort of gratitude. And of course, their ancestors, their people that were in your lives who passed away, family members who maybe you don't want to remember, or you do not have good memories of, and you don't have to remember them, and you don't have to honor them. But when I talk about this joy and this gratefulness, it's not really tied to them individually and the actions they took, but the general sense of that they are part of me in some way. And then also part of this has been remembering and connecting with those who've gone before, with ancestors, with my relatives who passed, friends who passed, teachers who passed, is that it's liberating in a sense. Because if you think about it, who you are today, the body that you are in today was for great to, it was just the body that you have wasn't something you chose, right? So that is the result of genetics that were passed down to you. So whether your body is male or female or other, whether what race you are, what country you were born in, to what advantages or disadvantages you found in your life that you were born into, those were completely out of your control. And for myself, who's been very fortunate, but, for myself, I found it phenomenally liberating to just recognize that there are many, many, many things out of my control, because we live in a society and a culture which tends to blame the individual. We tend to look past all of the events, all of the things that influence the individual, that shape the individual, that are part of the individual. And we just blame the individual as if someone chose to have a certain body type, or, or have a certain ethnicity. But that's not the case, right? That's completely false. And this is really important to remember, because in the work that we do, when we work with families, the families that come to us, that show up at our emergency shelter, that show up at our family resource center, they are at a low point of their life, right? If you are homeless, if a family is homeless, they are in full-on survival mode. Some bad stuff has happened to them to bring them to this point in their life. And it's important for us to continually remember, because it's easy, it's tempting to just blame the individual. Look at the mistakes you made in your life. Why did you do those things? Why are you the way you are? What is wrong with you? That's the temptation. It's easy to do in our culture and our society. But the reality is that we need to encounter them and approach them from the space of what happened to you, right? Because the reality is that when a family's homeless, they've been working really hard not to be homeless. They've taken a lot of steps to prevent their homelessness. When they have to come to the food pantry, they've already done a lot of things to avoid coming to the food pantry. When they need help as parents in whatever way that is, they've already taken a lot of steps to try and fix it themselves. And so when they come to us, we always need to remember that they've been working really hard and that they are at a low point. And so we start from what's happened to you and how can we help? How can we support you? How can we give you the resources that you need to be successful, right? Because that's the goal. Ultimately, we want you as a family to be successful in raising your child, be successful in as a family so that your children can thrive, right? And there is no benefit for us and for you to come from a place of blaming, because we want to work together with you as a family to help you be successful, right? So during the season, beginning of November, important to remember all the things that are outside of our control, outside of the control of the people that we serve, that we encounter in our society. And remember to approach each individual with compassion. We don't know what's happened to them. And so we should respond with compassion, with an understanding, with some humility. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about the work the Neighborhood Place of Puna does, please visit neighborhoodplaceofpuna.org. If you like this vlog, please click the like button and please follow our channel. Aloha and have a wonderful week.